What's up guys, it's manga time once again with Bleach 543, and as soon as I saw the title I knew that this was going to be the chapter I wanted it to be, Letters. Now, oh man, it's just such a good chapter, I'm literally so happy. It's everything I hoped it would be. The chapter is it's focused completely on the Vandenreich, and we finally get names, letters, personalities at last. So it starts where it left off, with Bark basically telling the Sternritter he has something to tell them. He then tells someone to come on to the podium, and it's Uryu, and he's looking like a badass. And this completely shocks people like Bambietta and the Quincy with the Mohawk, because obviously he survived Yamamoto's attack. And Bark says, I nominate... Well, basically he says that Uryu Ishida is the last living Quincy in this world. That was weird. Does that mean all the Vandenreich are dead? Because a lot of people have theorised that. A lot of people have said that they are dead and they have some kind of binding to the Schattenbayreich, which is why Bark had to be pulled back in. But anyway, he then says that I nominate him my successor, and all the Quincy are like, whoa, what the hell? As you would be. And he's alive. He's alive! Oh, I knew it, I knew it. Äs Nödt's alive. I knew it. I never gave up hope. I never gave up hope. And he's alive. He's right there. So's Nanana, but I don't really care about him. But I knew it. He's alive! Yes! Oh, Kubo, you did the right thing. He's alive. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. The chapter, you know, the chapter gets a 10. He's alive. It took a little while to confirm it, but thank God, I'm so happy. But anyway, the Quincy we get to see in this picture, we get to see, obviously Äs Nödt looking surprised, Nanana looking surprised, the Luchador, the gunslinging Colonel Sanders Quincy, the Knight Quincy, and yeah, so I'm so happy. And also Bambietta is looking kind of pissed off. But I'm so happy Äs Nödt's still alive. That is definitely the right thing to do, Kubo. So happy. But anyway, then Bazz-B. I think he's Bazz-B anyway, it's not confirmed yet. Bazz-B kind of, he's like, what are you doing, Your Majesty? And then Haschwalth gets in the way. And Bazz-B calls him Jugo. I believe this is a shortened version of Jugram, which is Haschwalth's full name, which you can find out that later on. And then Bark basically says there's not to be any objections because you don't have to worry. In the upcoming fights, you will see the power of Uryu Ishida. And that's it for Bark's announcement. Now, this to me really foreshadows that Uryu is going to do something spectacular. There is no way that Kubo can say that and not have him do something spectacular. My personal prediction is that he's going to kill Miuri with very little difficulty whatsoever. But then after that we get some Sternritter interaction, and oh, I'm so happy because this is exactly what I wanted. The Mohawk one, Bazz-B, we don't know that yet, smashes like some wine bottle on the ground. These guys are so like European. I love it because I'm European. But then basically Bazz-B's raging out. He's like, I don't get what the hell's happening. Who is he? Someone explain to me. And now we get a set of their names and letters, and oh boy, these names are wacky as hell. So you get Sternritter S, Masque de Masculine. This is the Luchador bloke. Now, I don't actually have a problem with this name, because I think it means Mask of Masculinity, and that's more of a title than an actual name. He's a wrestler, after all. Then we get the Knight guy's name. He's Sternritter K, BG9. What? When I first read that, I was like, what the hell is that? However, I've recently come to a theory. I think BG9 is a robot. Whoa, don't go anywhere. He could be a cyborg. Something like that. Why the hell would you have a number in your name unless you weren't some kind of machine who had like a... I definitely think he's like possibly a robot or something. But basically, BG9 says to Bazz-B that I think only His Majesty could explain that. We then get to see the Sternritter with the lip scar. Well, hey, he's awesome looking. And his name is Kang Do. I don't actually have a problem with that at all. He's Sternritter I. I think Kang is an awesome name. And he's kind of Chinese, which... you know, he's cool. I like that. And then we finally do get confirmation of what everyone knew. Sternritter, Bazz-B, is the Mohawk guy. Everyone knew that ever since Kira got annihilated. But he's Sternritter H. That's interesting. I thought he was going to be a little bit higher than that. Anyway, he's obviously annoyed. He basically is going to... and I like this, because the Sternritter don't have the same... well, from what we've seen so far, they don't really have the same dynamic as the Espada. The Espada hate each other. But that's because Hollows are crazy and they don't get on well together. These guys seem to have some form of camaraderie, even if there is a bit of like rivalry between them. Master Masculine basically is like, "Where the hell are you going, Bazz-B?" And Bazz-B's like, "I'm going to His Majesty's place, I can't keep quiet about this." Now, obviously, Masculine knows that's a big mistake, and I think Bazz-B must know as well. He's basically, he says to him, "Stop, you idiot, you'll never be forgiven for that." Obviously, it means you'll get killed. And I think he probably would. Because obviously Bazz-B, not Bazz-B, Bark forgave them for getting annihilated by Yama. Bazz-B must be on pretty thin ice, I think. However, he gets stopped by Haschwalth. Interesting that Bazz-B calls him Jugo and gets away with it, when we find out now that he's Sternritter B. Jugram Haschwalth. So this obviously leaves room open for Sternritter A. So the fact that he calls him Jugo, are they all allowed to call him that? Is Haschwalth relatively easygoing? But anyway, we get something here that's very similar to something we've seen before. They definitely have an Ulquiorra Grimjoe dynamic to an extent, and I'll get into that in a minute. Haschwalth says, "Where are you going, Bazz-B?" And then Bazz-B replies with, "What about you? You're not going anywhere." That's interesting, because Bazz-B says, "I was sure you would be His Majesty's successor." Now, whether Haschwalth is annoyed that he's not the successor, you can't really tell. Personally, I think he might be. I think he might be. Bazz-B says that most of the Ritters would have had no problem with you as being the successor. Don't you feel anything towards that? And Haschwalth is just like, "It's His Majesty's decision, I don't have a say in it." And Bazz-B calls him a coward, and he says that he disappoints him. Now here, this is where we get the true difference between this and Grimjoe and Ulquiorra. Bazz-B respects Haschwalth, and he looks up to him. He's definitely a hothead. He's definitely a bit of a dickhead, but he respects Haschwalth. And he's like, why are you okay with this? Why are you letting this new guy come in and take all your glory? You'll deserve the glory as well at that. Grimjoe would have never acknowledged Ulquiorra in that way. But Bazz-B, he's a hothead, and he says, "Well, if it doesn't bother you, then leave it to me, because I'm going to sit there." So Bazz-B has this. Bazz-B, wants to be the emperor. Now I love this next bit, because Haschwalth is just kind of like, "Calm down, Bazz-B," and as he says that, he's going for his sword. I love how devilish that is. Bazz-B's like, "I'm perfectly calm. I'm way more than you are." However, as that happens, we get like a rip in the wall. This bit kind of confused me. Like a portal tears a hole in the wall. And someone is watching the two of them go at it, and he's like, "That's true, you're quite calm." And the dude looks weird as hell. Like, he's kind of like a parody of Aizen. He's like, "You didn't just attack him quite wait, you're quite calm, absolutely calm." And he's clapping. And this bloke is Sternritter D, Askin Nak Levar. Nak Levar, what the hell kind of name is that? Askin is a relatively normal name, I think. But, basically, he's like, fighting is bad, His Majesty doesn't like fights. And Nak Levar says that also we have some onlookers, and you see that someone is spying on them with a really weird-looking scepter. And he's kind of an Akuma-looking guy, and he's got like glasses on, I think, but I'm going to need a better-looking picture for this one. But he laughs in a very familiar style. He has the little geh style laugh, which leads me to believe that he is the puppeteer Quincy who controlled Jidambo, possibly with that staff. But anyway, Nak Levar says, "Quit it, both of you." This is really interesting. Navar, Askin, he's D, but he tells Haschwalth to quit it. He speaks down to him. How does he get away with this? Now, I know there's not really been any established hierarchy in the Sternritter yet, but I really do think that because, Haschwalth is B, there's definitely some ranking via the letters. There is definitely some ranking there. Now, it's interesting because Askin says to Haschwalth, "This fight will be nothing but poison, especially for you. I'm sure you understand that." And then Askin calls him next emperor. What's that all about? We know now that Uryu is going to be the next emperor. But that leads me to something that I will explain in a minute. Uryu is then seen drinking some black liquid, could be blood, could be Bark's blood. And Bark says, with this the ceremony is over, your power will awaken soon. I'll give you the Schrift, which means sacred scripts. You will have the letter A, just like me. That's the end of the chapter. So, Bark is A, Uryu is now Sternritter A. We found out so much in this chapter. I love it. 10 out of 10, easy. It would have been a 10 out of 10 for the simple fact that Äs Nödt is still alive. However, the fact we got names, we got Kangdu, BK9, Master Masculine, Askin Naklavar, Bazz-B confirmed, Jugram Haschwalth. We got letters, we got K, I, S, B, A. We got loads, man. We got loads of letters, and I just love the Sternritter interaction. They're already talking a lot more between each other than the Espada ever did, and I really think Kubo is going to develop these guys better than he did them, at least most of them anyway. Also, I think the ones we've seen so far are going to be the main ones, because there's still quite a few Sternritter left to see, and I think these guys are kind of going to be the major ones that we get from Kubo, which I've got no problem with because I like a lot of their designs. Some of them are a bit silly, I think Askin looks a little bit generic. I hope we get to see him a bit more because I kind of want to see a bit. And I think the D stands for the dimension. That's about the only letter that I can really kind of pinpoint what that means. I reckon that's dimension. Whether Askin is the one who is able to teleport people via the shadow, I don't really know. But he could very well be. Now, as far as, the Sternritter interaction, I have a prediction. Bazz-B isn't happy. Neither is Askin, obviously. Does this mean that they're building up some kind of coup where they fight, where they try and overthrow Uryu and Bark? Now, to me, that sounds like suicide, but I think it could definitely happen, and I personally would be game for that because we get a lot more interaction between them if that did happen. So that's it really for this week's chapter. It ends with Bark bestowing Uryu the letter A and revealing that he's A as well. Now, will the next chapter carry on with the Vandermite? Probably not, though I would be very happy if it did. We still need to find out Colonel Sanders' real name and letter. We still need to see a lot of the other Sternritter. And I've liked Äs to do a little bit more in this chapter, but I'm just so glad he's alive. I can't reiterate that enough. So it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. Panel of the week for me has probably got to go to the one I'm going to use as the thumbnail. The big picture of Uryu and all the shocked faces of the Sternritter beneath. That is awesome. I love it. Really cool picture. I'm so happy. Predictions for next week, I don't know where it's going to go. I mean, I presume it's going to go back to Ichigo, and he's going to probably go see Shutara Senjumaru. As for what she's going to teach him, I have no idea. I'm pretty certain one of the new Royal Guards is going to teach him Kido, or at least try to. I don't think we'll stay with the Sternritter, because you just tend not to stay with the bad guys for that long. Maybe we'll get a little bit of them at the beginning of the chapter, but I don't know. I'm still pretty sure we're going to get another invasion soon. Anyway, you guys, as for comment of the week, got a couple I want to share with you. Shamir15 says, since Ichigo seems to have access to his full power now, I wonder if he is close to his post-Dangai strength, since that was basically a glimpse of his full strength on display. And then he says, I wouldn't be surprised if he's very close or has surpassed Yamamoto. I kind of hope Ichigo's not that strong, because we have a lot of fights to do. Bark seems to be very genre savvy. He's ready for what's coming. He must know that Kenpachi is boosting his power, and he knows that Ichigo's power is boosted, and he knows the Royal Guard are there, and so he knows that they have a lot of work to do if they're going to fight them. But yeah, thanks for your comment, Shamir. Whether he's surpassed Yamamoto or not, I don't know. I mean, Yamamoto is literally the bee's knees. He's a boss. I mean, I know Ichigo's a boss as well, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I'm happy with where Ichigo's going. I'm obviously more interested in the Vandermite right now, simply because they're awesome, and I'm very happy with this chapter. So, my last comment of the week. Punter Master 69 says, something no one has really talked about is why no one can steal Ichigo's Bankai. They explained Ichigo's powers used to stem from his Quincy powers impersonating his Shinigami powers. So now that he's using his true powers, they'll probably be able to steal it. I agree. Which is weird, because you think that Ichigo would... You think that's kind of a step backwards, but I definitely agree that now Ichigo is definitely using his Shinigami powers, he's vulnerable. Also, I think that they're setting up for a big fight between Ichigo and Uryu. But like I said, I hope Uryu demonstrates his powers in another way first. That's it for this week's chapter, guys. I love it. 10 out of 10. I'm so glad we finally got this chapter. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. What do you think of the names? What do you think of the Sternritter? Are you happy that Az and Nanana are still alive? What do you think of Uryu's integration? What do you think of the whole idea of a coup? Could that possibly happen? Also, don't forget to check out my blog, and also check out my 300 subscribers special video, where I rank the captains in order of who I like. I'm probably going to do another one for the Espada, for the Lieutenants, and eventually for the Sternritter. That's not going to happen just yet. But until next time, guys, see you later.